Thank you very much for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred. I'll be speaking. 4 of the Houston Texans cheerleaders will be speaking. My co-counsel, Kimberly Spurlock, will then speak at the end. And we will also be introducing Misty, who is a partner of Kimberly, and also my law partner, Nathan Goldberg. Today we have filed a lawsuit against the Houston Texans on behalf of 5 former Houston Texans cheerleaders who have courageously come forward to protest how they were treated by the Houston Texans. These women all had the same dream. They all aspired to be an integral part of the Houston Texans, and they look forward to promoting the team on game day and throughout the year at public appearances, cheering, dancing, and performing community service. But their dreams were shattered by the reality of their lives as Houston Texans cheerleaders. They were harassed, intimidated, and forced to live in fear that they could be cut from the team for the slightest infraction. They were told repeatedly that they were dispensable and disposable, and that the surest way to be fired was to speak out. To become a Houston Texans cheerleader is not an easy task. In order to win a slot, each of our clients had to compete against more than 1,000 other young women and prove that they had the talent, the fortitude, the discipline, and attitude to stand out from the crowd and be chosen as one of the lucky few to come out on game day as a Houston Texans cheerleader. The cheerleaders are an essential part of the team's success. They come out of the same tunnel as the players. They are dancing throughout the game, cheering on the players, and adding to the excitement. Some of them are going to the suites as eye candy because the Houston Texans have sold the cheerleaders package to their high-end customers. Throughout the year, cheerleaders are sent to make public appearances at various venues in Houston, for which the team receives substantial appearance fees while the young women earn virtually nothing. The cheerleaders are told that they cannot speak to the players, who are their fellow teammates, even just to wish them good luck. They are told repeatedly that they can be replaced on a moment's notice and that they have no rights. One of our clients was even assaulted by a fan. Rather than addressing this with the fan and ejecting him from the game, the victim was told that she should just suck it up and act like nothing had happened. We have photos of the injury that she sustained on that occasion. The Houston Texans organization is worth billions of dollars. It pays its players hundreds of millions of dollars a year while paying these hard-working women $7.25 an hour, less than they would earn if they worked at McDonald's, less than what the parking attendants at the stadium earn. Worse yet, they do not even pay them the $7.25 an hour for all of the time that they work. The Houston Texans will need to explain to its fans and in court why they value these women so little that they pay the minimum wage for maximum effort. We know why. It's because they are women. And there are always more that are ready to take their place. So what if these women work from sun up to sundown, having to prove themselves over and over again throughout the season, dancing before every game to show that they are worthy to have the honor of being a Houston Texans cheerleader? So what if they have to make sacrifices in terms of their job or schooling? After all, they're just women to be exploited. The cheerleaders are required to make at least 50 public appearances throughout the year, but they receive none of the monies that are paid to the Houston Texans for those appearances. Enough is enough. Women should not have to put up with being paid minimum wage while their male colleagues are paid millions of dollars for their work. Surely, Mr. McNair and the Houston Texans can find it in their budget of hundreds of millions of dollars to pay these women a fair wage, not minimum wage. I say, stop penny pinching. Pay these women what they deserve and make sure that you pay them for every minute that they work. Everyone that supports this team, while knowing how these cheerleaders are treated, is complicit. Suite owners, you should demand to know why the women that come to your suite for a few minutes each game only receive a pittance. Check how much you pay to have these cheerleaders come to your suite. Players, stand up for your coworkers. Do not stand silently by while these women who dance and work so hard to build enthusiasm and help you win are paid almost nothing while you earn millions of dollars a year for your effort. Fans, when you buy your calendar and your cups and enjoy seeing these cheerleaders at the sidelines dancing and throughout the stadium, think about how these women are being cheated out of a living wage. You pay for your tickets. Demand change and fair treatment for the cheerleaders who enhance your experience. Our clients have one thing in common, in addition to their evident talent and ability. They are all women, and I believe that they're being targeted and discriminated against because of their gender. There is no other explanation for why they are paid so little and not paid at all for a substantial portion of their work. Would the Houston Texans expect any of their male employees to work for nothing? Would they treat their male employees with the lack of respect that these women have had to endure? These are women who have competed to win their jobs and have proven themselves over and over. They are used by the team to sell and market the brand and increase the revenue stream to the Houston Texans. How is it possible that cheerleaders are paid so little and not paid at all for much of their work? It is only possible because the Houston Texans have continued to engage in severe and continuous sex discrimination, and they have not yet been held accountable in a court of law. We have filed this lawsuit today to seek compensation and fairness for these brave women because of what they have suffered. However, their main goal is to seek change for the women that will come after them, so that the Houston Texans will treat all of its employees fairly and with respect. As we say in the women's movement, men, their rights and nothing more. Women, their rights and nothing less. And now, I'd like to present one of the former cheerleaders, and her name is Kelly. Why don't you take my place?
Good morning. My name is Kelly Nooner, and I'm a former Houston Texans cheerleader. Starting off this journey, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment to earn a spot on the Houston Texans Cheerleaders team. Little did I know that the Houston Texans would take advantage of me and my teammates. I remember feeling puzzled and angry and asking myself why we didn't deserve to be paid more than $7.25 an hour for what was a demanding job. Even more so since we were an additional stream of revenue for the Texans organization, which earned thousands of dollars for the public appearances I was required to work. The organization did not pay us for all of our working activities, including practices, traveling expenses, training camp, and other required personal maintenance expenses. If we wanted to remain Texans cheerleaders, we had to accept subpar pay and unpaid working hours and expenses. If not, we could be terminated. We were constantly reminded how disposable we were to them. I felt like the Texans did not care about my rights as a professional, as a woman, or as part of the team. I felt bullied into accepting their practices out of fear of losing my job. This organization does so much good in the Houston community and throughout Texas. However, they should treat their cheerleaders with the same respect and dignity. There has to be change. Pay your cheerleaders for the hours they work and expenses they incur. Pay them for the value they provide, and ensure that all of their employees, including the Houston Texans cheerleaders, are treated with respect. We have value, and we deserve the right to be treated with dignity and paid fairly.
Ms. Kelly, can you spell your last name for the
Yes. Yeah.
N-E-U-N-E-R.
And you also have it on the copy that's been handed out. Okay, next person is Hannah Turnbow.
Good morning. My name is Hannah Turnbow. My dream to be a Houston Texans cheerleader came true in 2017. Being a Houston Texans cheerleader meant being a part of something bigger than myself and playing a huge role in the community. What I didn't know was being a cheerleader meant being exploited and mistreated and not paid for my time. The hours I put into appearances, keeping up with my fitness, practices, game days, taking away from my family and school was worth more than $7.25 an hour. I and my fellow cheerleaders were treated as the lowest of the low. The Houston Texans were paid thousands of dollars to have us show up at appearances at locations all over Texas with no security, no transportation, and where our safety was not guaranteed. As an example of how I was not protected, I was attacked by a fan at a game, leaving abrasions on my shoulder. My attacker was not approached, nor was he removed from the game. I was told to just suck it up. I stand today with 4 of my cheer sisters who endured similar experiences and want to show girls and young women that we are more than pretty faces in a cheer uniform. We are a team to be reckoned with. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morgan.
Good morning. My name is Morgan Wiederhold, and I'm a former 2016-2017 Houston Texans cheerleader. One of the main reasons why I wanted to be a Houston Texans cheerleader was to be able to do good and give back to my community. I had no idea that once I became a Houston Texans cheerleader, all of my dreams would slowly be shattered. My morals and my faith were put into question every single day by the decisions that the coaches and the cheerleading staff made. They took away my individuality and made me feel as if I didn't have a voice. When I tried to have my own voice and be my own individual, I was crucified and feared for my job. From out-of-country trips to my image being sold on cups in gas stations and in the stadium, I was never fully compensated for my time, nor did I ever see or get any share of any profits from the merchandise. I'm standing here today in hopes with making a difference for all the women out there that have the same dream that I did, and for those little girls that have always looked up to me. It's time for us to come together and put an end to this abuse.
Next person is Ainsley Parrish.
Good morning. My name is Ainsley Parrish, I was a member of the 2016-2017 Houston Texans Cheerleaders. In my interview process to become a Houston Texans cheerleader, I was asked what I would do with my platform if I became a cheerleader. I responded I would use it to become a role model. Unfortunately, my experience was extremely disappointing. We were harassed, we were bullied, and we were body shamed for $7.25 an hour. We were told what we could wear, how we could wear our hair, what we could post, who we could follow on personal social media. On our personal time, we were told who we could and couldn't hang out with, where we could go, who we could talk to, and what we could say. I was not compensated for all my time, but that's not why I'm here. However, when I brought the pay issue to the Houston Texans' attention, I was ignored. We truly were just all pretty little pawns in the game that the Houston Texans were cashing in on. We were treated with no respect, while they expected the utmost respect from us. The Houston Texans created a hostile and unfair workplace for the cheerleaders. They instilled fear and anxiety in myself and my teammates, anxiety that all of us struggle with even today. We were told we were replaceable and to keep our mouth shut. The Houston Texans should not have given us a uniform if they did not want us to become an army. Thank you.
My name is Kim Spurlock. I'm here with my partner, Misty Kane. We're very proud to represent these fine individuals. They're very hardworking. We look forward to presenting their case in a court of law against the Houston Texans. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Can you come up to the mic, please?
Just be right here.
My name is Misty Kane. I'm a Texans fan, and I'm a mom of a daughter, a 16-year-old daughter. And when I met these women behind me and I listened to their stories, it made it difficult for me to think about buying another Texans jersey or a ticket. And I hope that every fan out there seeing this and watching and hearing their stories has that same struggle. We're going to do everything we can to help take care of these women. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a copy of the lawsuit that we filed today. And also, I'm going to stand with the cheerleaders here for a moment. Would you like to stand? This is how much they are paid for their work when they are paid, as we pointed out. Often they do work and they are never paid for it. $7.25.
Gloria, are you able
And then
to?
we'll, and then Kimberly, Misty, and I'll take some questions.
I have a question. My first question is,
So we'll sit down here, so we can, sure. And my partner Nathan Goldberg is also here with me today. Raise your hand. Okay, all right. Want to stand up here too? Sure. Okay, good. All right, so let's sit down and we'll take some questions. The cheerleaders are not taking any questions right now, but we'll take some questions.
It's all right, David Bear from the Houston Chronicle. Does the contract require that this go to arbitration if there is a problem with the cheerleaders? And if so, how do you work your way around that potential?
Well, we're permitted to file a lawsuit, and we did file a lawsuit. And if there's an arbitration, it's just a private trial. And, you know, we'll take each step as is necessary to take. Do you want to weigh in on it?
There's some discrepancies in the various versions of contracts that we've seen, so we're going to proceed in the court of law and go from there.
But there's another lawsuit that has been filed in federal court here that seeks class action status. Will these two lawsuits both go along contemporaneously, or whether it be an attempt to diverse them, or how do you expect this process to?
Our clients do not intend to be a part of the class. They want to present their individual claims.
Did the women know?
And each individual has slightly different claims and also different damages, and we like to treat people as individuals and not part of a class unless it is necessary and there's sufficient similarity and so forth. Yeah.
Did they know how much they were going to be paid when they signed a contract with the Houston Texans?
I believe that they were aware of the minimum wage. Of course, they had every right to expect they would be paid for all of their work. Last time I checked, the Houston Texans were not a charity. They are a business, and they need to treat their employees according to the law.
Which specific work were they not paid for? Can you explain that a little more?
Do we want to say?
Well, it's detailed out in the complaint. I think you should rely on that document
Yeah.
for the specifics of
Right.
the work that was not paid for.
In other words, rather than our paraphrasing it, we want to maintain accuracy, and we stand on our complaint.
Could anyone estimate what the average work week would be in terms of hours, either during the season or during the off-season? Presumably, it would be more than 40, but how much would it be?
Many weeks would be more than 40, but I'm not going to speculate or estimate at this point.
Is there an estimate of how much money they weren't paid and should have been paid?
I don't have a dollar for you three at this point.
Ms. Allred,
Again, it would be different for each person, but the concept that there is work being performed that is not paid for is just, for us, reprehensible, especially when we're talking about a minimum of or actually for them, a maximum of $7.25 an hour. To even be deprived of any of that is just wrong.
Ms. Allred,
Professional
there's been several complaints made by professional NFL cheerleader teams across the country.
That's
Why
right.
did you choose to get involved in this one?
Well, because again, I feel enough is enough, and also Kimberly reached out to me. We are the leading women's rights law firm in the United States and have been for 42 years. And we deal with many employment issues, many employment wage discrimination issues on account of sex. We have a great deal of admiration for Kimberly and for Misty and for their firm, and we were honored to be asked to work with them as a team to assert the rights of these cheerleaders, to protect their rights, and to vindicate their rights in a court of law. So
Have your
we
clients-
accepted.
Have your clients talked about unionizing? Is it like if they were able to unionize, would that take care of some of these problems, or is that something that they discussed, or?
Right now, right now, we are proceeding in a court of law. But I do adhere to the saying of the famous labor organizer, Mother Jones, don't agonize, organize. But they have organized to proceed with this lawsuit. So that's their focus right now, is seeking protection and a vindication of their rights in federal court.
Do you think this would be a first step, though, for a collective bargaining agreement that would guarantee minimum standards for cheerleader labor?
I can't comment on whether this would be a first step or there's any step at all in reference to a collective bargaining agreement.
What is the significance of?
It's just, we're focused on the lawsuit.
What's the significance of the EEOC complaint? Has it been filed yet, or is it in the process of being filed?
The EEOC complains in the process.
There have been a number of lawsuits, as has been mentioned already, one already against the Texans and then against other NFL organizations, specifically coming from cheerleaders. Gloria, this is specific for you. Do you believe the cheerleading organizations will eventually fall by the wayside if they don't change? Should NFL teams continue to have cheerleading organizations if they continue to be sued?
At this point, we're not arguing with the concept of whether there should be cheerleaders or not, but we are asserting that if there are cheerleaders, they should not be exploited in their wages or in any of their terms of their working conditions. I do think that Commissioner Goodall needs to review all of this. I plan to be in New York on Monday, and I'll be delivering a letter to the Commissioner's office on Monday, because I do think that he needs to review this. And after all, they're there to support the NFL. They're essentially part of it. So the focus should not only be on the players, it should also be on those who support the organization.